champions of the past. We have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building. Marissa.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you.
Andrew Tate just called out Jake Paul, slamming the so-called boxing prodigy for rejecting his fight offer. For someone who prides himself on taking on anyone, Jake seems to have developed a sudden case of stage fright when it comes to Tate. The outspoken Tate didn't hold back, dubbing Jake the avoidance expert. He pointed out Jake's habit of cherry-picking opponents, which has been a hallmark of his career. Tate also took a jab at Jake's failed attempts at bold challenges, like his open call-out to Conor McGregor that
clown on the fucking internet. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate.
Fizzled out, and his hollow beef with Sean Strickland. According to Tate, Jake is more about chasing headlines than taking on hard fights. Rejecting a match with Tate only bolstered that argument, adding fuel to Tate's long-standing criticism of Jake's approach.
Me versus Andrew Tate.
Wow.
But here we are, so we could talk about that side note announcement. And please go watch the episode.
Hold on a second. What you mean you versus Andrew Tate? Because
no, I'm not saying a fight. I'm saying like our back and forth. He talks shit about me and like says he wants to beat my ass or can beat my ass and all this stuff.
I think there's a better fight to make.
I am so excited about this fight.
Andrew Tate has been training with the...
But now, the so-called problem child seems to be avoiding a fight that could test his limits. Andrew Tate wasted no time mocking Jake Paul's excuses for avoiding their fight, from vague claims about career strategy to complaints about the terms not being right. Tate, never one to mince words, dismissed these as fear disguised as PR spin. According to him, Jake's entire career revolves around dodging real competition. And
if my brother doesn't fuck you up, I will. And it has to go down. But I don't think he gets in the ring with one of them.
When you look at the facts, it's hard to disagree. Jake's reluctance becomes even more glaring when you consider his next fight, a matchup with Mike Tyson. While Tyson is a legend and a guaranteed pay-per-view draw, he's also 57 years old. His prime is long behind him, and any fight with Jake is bound to feel more like an exhibition than a serious contest. Tate didn't hold back, questioning how Jake can claim to be a disruptor in boxing while choosing opponents closer to retirement age than the sport elite. For Tate, this move underscores everything wrong with Jake's approach to...
It's the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would fuck you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put three...
Boxing. Jake Paul's fight choices continue to spark debate, and it's not just the upcoming Mike Tyson matchup drawing attention. It's the pattern. Jake has a history of calling out big names without following through. His open challenge to Conor McGregor fizzled out, and his flashy call-out of Sean Strickland went nowhere. The strategy is clear. Talk big, generate buzz, but avoid stepping into the ring with genuine threats. Andrew Tate, however, has consistently called Jake out, offering a fight that would be more than hype. It would be a true test of Jake's abilities. Unlike some of Jake's other potential opponents, Tate is both qualified and willing. A seasoned professional with victories over world-class competitors, Tate is exactly the type of challenger Jake claims to seek. Yet Jake...
I will fight you any day of the fucking week.
Jake has chosen the safer route of hand-picked opponents. This isn't just about Tate's frustration, it's about Jake's legacy. He loves portraying himself as a disruptor in boxing, someone rewriting the rules. But actions speak louder than words, and rejecting fights with legitimate contenders like Tate undermines that image. Instead of revolutionizing the sport, Jake seems to be turning it into a reality TV show where he controls the script. Fans are starting to catch on. Social media is ablaze with criticism over Jake's decision to avoid Tate. The public is seeing through his carefully crafted persona, realizing his rise in boxing has been built more on spectacle than skill. Meanwhile, Tate's reputation continues to grow as someone unafraid of real challenge.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would fuck you up.
Challenges. Andrew Tate's willingness to call out Jake Paul's hypocrisy and challenge him directly highlights a deeper issue in boxing. The sport has always balanced skill and showmanship, but Jake's approach leans heavily toward the latter. By prioritizing marketable matchups over meaningful competition, he's contributing to the erosion of boxing's integrity. Tate's criticism isn't just personal, it's about defending the sport itself. What makes this situation even more frustrating is that a fight between Jake and Tate could have been a blockbuster event. Both men are known for their charisma and ability to hype a fight, and the build-up alone would have been electric. More importantly, it would have given Jake the chance to prove himself against a legitimate fighter. Instead, his rejection of the fight sends a clear message. He's not ready for that level of competition. Tate isn't letting this slide, and for good reason. Jake's decision to avoid the fight isn't just a missed opportunity, it reveals where his priorities truly lie. Despite his claims of wanting to be taken seriously as a boxer, his actions tell a different story. This isn't the first time Jake's bravado has clashed with reality. His career is littered with moments where his words have outpaced his actions, from teasing a fight with Conor McGregor to hyping a match with Mike Tyson. Jake has...
I think you're focused on boxing boxers, people that are in the space that you reside.
Jake, I know he's been talking shit about you, bro.
Yeah.
But with your blessing, can I beat the shit out of Andrew fucking Tate?
100%.
Mastered the art of generating buzz, but his inability to follow through continues to undermine his credibility in the sport. This time, Jake Paul's decision feels different. By rejecting a fight with Andrew Tate, he's not just dodging another opponent. He's dodging a real chance to prove himself, and the public knows it. Tate's relentless criticism has only intensified the scrutiny on Jake, making it harder for him to hide behind excuses. Contrast that with Tate's offer. Here's a man with multiple kickboxing world championships, someone who has fought professionally against legitimate competition. This wouldn't be a bout against a retired...
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the...
...retired athlete or a fellow influencer dabbling in boxing. It would be a fight against a seasoned fighter capable of exposing any weaknesses Jake might have. Jake's refusal is even more telling, given his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Tyson's name carries massive weight in the boxing world. He's a legend, a household name, and still capable of drawing attention. But the reality is hard to ignore. Tyson is 57 years old. While he remains in phenomenal shape, he's far removed from the ferocious fighter who once dominated the heavyweight division. Fighting Tyson guarantees headlines, pay-per-view sales, and social media buzz, but it doesn't prove anything. It's a spectacle, not a statement. A safe choice that does little to challenge Jake's abilities or silence his critics. This time, Jake Paul's decision feels different. By rejecting a fight with Andrew Tate, he's not just dodging another opponent, he's dodging a real chance to prove himself. And the public knows it. Tate's relentless criticism has only intensified the scrutiny on Jake, making it harder for him to hide behind excuses. Contrast that with Tate's offer. Here's a man with multiple kickboxing world championships, someone who has fought professionally against legitimate competition. This wouldn't be a bout against a retired athlete or a fellow influencer dabbling in boxing. It would be a fight against a seasoned fighter capable of exposing any weakness Jake might have. Jake's refusal is even more telling given his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Tyson's name carries massive weight in the boxing world. He's a legend, a household name, and still capable of drawing attention. But
he does tend to keep those guards down, but he's comfy at that point.
Reality is hard to ignore. Tyson is 57 years old. While he remains in phenomenal shape, he's far removed from the ferocious fighter who once dominated the heavyweight division. Fighting Tyson guarantees headlines, pay-per-view sales, and social media buzz, but it doesn't prove anything. It's a spectacle, not a statement. A safe choice that does little to challenge Jake's abilities or silence his critics. Andrew Tate didn't hold back in pointing out the irony of Jake Paul's career choices. Jake is willing to step into the ring with Mike Tyson, a fighter nearly 3 decades older than him, but avoids a prime competitor like Tate, who's eager to face him. This goes beyond the Tyson fight or the rejected match with Tate. It highlights a pattern that has defined Jake's career. Time and again, Jake has chosen opponents who pose the least risk while generating the most attention. Call it smart business or calculated marketing, but it's far from what fans expect from someone claiming to be a serious boxer. And fans are starting to catch on. Social media is buzzing with criticism of Jake's refusal to fight Tate. Many are calling out the hypocrisy of his public persona versus his private actions. Jake talks a big game about disrupting boxing and proving himself, but his opponent choices tell another story. Tate's relentless criticism has struck a nerve, labeling Jake's career as one built on avoiding real challenges. And he's not wrong. Tate has positioned himself as the opposite of Jake, a fighter driven by love for competition and the desire to prove himself, rather than by social media clout. For Andrew Tate, this situation is another chance to solidify his reputation. He's shown he's unafraid of a challenge, and his willingness to call out Jake Paul has resonated with fans tired of the circus act boxing has become. Whether or not the fight happens, Tate has already won the battle of public perception. As for Jake, the clock is ticking. He can continue to build his career on spectacle, but at some point, the facade will crumble. Fans are growing weary of flashy call-outs and manufactured drama. They want real fights. Until Jake steps up and delivers, his legacy will remain as shallow as the celebrity boxing matches that brought him fame. Ultimately, this isn't just about Jake Paul and Andrew Tate. It's about the future of boxing. Will it remain a sport defined by skill and competition? Or will it devolve into a sideshow driven by clicks and headlines? Andrew Tate has made his stance clear, standing as a defender of boxing's integrity. Jake's decision to reject the fight, on the other hand, speaks volumes about where he stands. For now, one thing is certain: Andrew Tate has already defeated Jake Paul. Not in the ring, but where it matters most, his reputation.